On the news, Tinubu and governors pay final respects as military holds burial for slain soldiers. It's charged on professionalism in investigation of soldiers' death in Delta State. And Julius Abure re-elected as Labour Party National Chairman. Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Simisola Adigun. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday led governors, federal lawmakers, military top brass and dignitaries to lay to rest the 17 military personnel who were gruesomely murdered at Okwama community in Delta State. The ceremony took place at the National Military Cemetery in Abuja. Speaking at the funeral ceremony, the president again condemned the killing, vowing that the culprits will not escape justice. He also called on traditional and community leaders at Okwama and other communities in the area to assist in the arrest of the perpetrators. The president also announced the conferment of posthumous national honors on the slain soldiers and the award of scholarships to their children. He further directed the military authorities to ensure the entitlements of the late soldiers are settled within the next 90 days. According to the defense headquarters, the 17 personnel included the commanding officer of 181 Amphibious Battalion, 2 majors, 1 captain and 12 personnel of the battalion were murdered when they went on a peace mission to the riverine Okwama community on March 14, 2024.
I want to make it clear once more that those who committed this heinous crime will not go unpunished. We find them and our departed heroes will get justice. The elders and chiefs of Okwama also have a duty to help the military in fishing out the gunmen who committed the barbaric crime against our men. I wish also to commend our armed forces for their restraint in choosing not to carry out a reprisal attack in Okwama or its neighboring communities. We must all ensure that the innocent people of the communities are not made to bear the punishment of the guilt and wicked among them. It is now our duty to protect the families of our departed heroes. The federal government will provide housing in any part of our country to each of the families of the 4 officers and 13 soldiers that's why among them.
Meanwhile, a federal lawmaker representing Southern Ijaw Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State, Rodney Aina, has called on military authorities to be guided by professionalism in the handling of the killing of the 17 soldiers at Okwama Community, Bomadi local government area of Delta State. Addressing a news conference in Abuja on Tuesday, the lawmaker said only caution and professionalism would prevent grave damages and consequences. According to him, the action of those who killed the soldiers had spilled over to Igbomotoru in the Southern Ijaw Federal Constituency. He appealed to the people of Igbomotoru and the entire Southern Ijaw Federal Constituency to be vigilant and report any strange movement in their various communities to the nearest law enforcement agents.
At this juncture, I want to align with the thinking and disposition of the President, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the National Assembly, and all the good people of Nigeria who crave for the swift arrest of those criminals who untimely cut short the lives of those officers and men of the Nigerian Army who were merely on a peace mission to Okwama. Their dastardly act has created young widows and orphans whose future is now made bleak. Please permit me to use this medium to call on the good people of Egbomothoro and the entire Southern Niger Federal constituency to be vigilant and report any strange movement in their various communities to the nearest law enforcement agents. Additionally, I employ parents not to even spare taking drastic actions against their children and wards who are getting out of control. There is a biblical saying that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
At least 100,000 Nigerians displaced to Niger, Chad and Cameroon by terrorism activities in the northeast of the country have been returned to their homes in the past 7 years. That's according to the Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, who disclosed this to State House correspondents after closed-door talks with President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday. Zulum, who said he discussed plans to resume the repatriation of Nigerians in the neighboring countries, announced that the president has approved the immediate takeoff of the Federal College of Education, Gwoza.
The issue of repatriation of Nigerians that are living in the Republic of Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. We have started repatriating them during the last administration, but because of the election period and rainy season, we stopped the repatriation exercise. Within the last 6 to 7 years, not less than 100,000 people were repatriated. This is the official figure. Unofficial figures might be more than this. But I want to inform you that we still have remnants of people living in Chad, Niger, and Cameroon. I need to discuss with the National Commission for Refugees, as well as NEMA and other organizations before coming out with a figure. But the most important thing that I want to tell you is that we have started the repatriation, and this administration is committed to ensure that all our refugees living in our neighboring countries are repatriated before the end of this administration.
The Borno State Governor also has said mass abduction, especially of school children, have not been heard of in the state lately, attributing it to the Safe School initiative, which has been on for the past 7 to 8 years in the state.
We have launched this program about 7 to 8 years ago because of the insecurity situation in our own state. I believe almost most of our schools are well-fenced as part of the Safe School initiatives. We have also deployed the military, the civilian JTF, as well as hunters and vigilante, who are working closely to ensure that our schools are safe. So we are doing very well. I believe you haven't had much in Borno State as regards abduction of school children. It's because our Safe School initiatives is working very well. And I also want to commend the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian police, and all others. We are working closely, and they are doing very well in terms of safeguarding our own schools.
And now to politics. Despite the opposition of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Julius Abure has been re-elected as the national chairman of the Labour Party for a second term by a unanimous affirmation of delegates. The chairman of the National Convention and Deputy Governor of Abia State, Ikechukwu Emetu, declared him the winner during the party's national convention that was held on Wednesday in Nnewi, Anambra State. Abure has in recent times been having a running battle with the NLC leadership led by Joe Ajaero. The NLC had called for his resignation as party chairman and the immediate constitution of a caretaker transition committee to organize a legitimate and all-inclusive national convention for the party. The federal government has solicited the support of the Swedish government for the development of technical education in the country. Minister of Education Tahir Mamman made the appeal while hosting the ambassador of Sweden to Nigeria, Annika Han Englund. Mamman specifically solicited the support of the Swedish government for the development of technical education as well as indigenous languages for sound educational development in the country.
the things that we are looking at is to develop our indigenous language and use the mother tongue for teaching in schools, which is usually very, very helpful. Not only in keeping the languages alive, but also in making people to understand things better when they learn them in their mother tongue. And then the presence of tech companies in education and training is very important for us, because one of the major things this ministry is focusing on now is to bring technology and skills into our education system.
You see of maybe having an education day together in the autumn that we are looking into. Also, I'd like to mention that there are a number of Nigerian students going to Sweden every year, and they are very, very, very competitive students, we have noticed, but of course we would like to see that also expand more. So I mean, there are different areas where I feel that we could do more together.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has advocated the establishment of a legal framework that recognizes and respects human rights in the country. The group also tasked the federal government to review laws like the Official Secrets Act, Criminal Code Act, and Cyber Crime Act for potential restrictions on free speech and press, and amend them in line with international human rights standards and agreement, including the Declaration for the Development of Free, Independent and Pluralistic Press. Our correspondent Comfort Samuel has details.
Nigeria's journey with civic space legislation has undergone significant evolution over the years, transitioning from the struggles against military rule to the current democratic era. However, there has been widespread criticism of government policies that are perceived as constraints to human freedom, enabling harassment of journalists, detention and arrest, among others. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability organized this forum to discuss the issue and chart a way forward. Speakers here say the civil space is sacrosanct in promoting democracy and good governance.
There is a strong correlation between freedom of expression and the freedom from illegitimacy. As I mentioned earlier, I'm happy that someone in the room said, he was part of the protest to oust military government in Nigeria. So at that time, and it continues to be so, the freedom of expression is an opportunity for us to speak against illegitimacy in any form.
To at all times be free to uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people. In this regard, the civic space has provided the impetus for CSOs and journalists to entrench democratic ideals and promote accountability and improve standard of living and social inclusion in the country.
In his keynote address, the chairman of the House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akin Rotimi, says civil society could be improved in many ways, like inclusivity and diversity in broader society.
In advocating for societal change, civil society organizations must actively identify and cultivate allies within the realms of public service. Building alliances with public servants who share similar goals and values can significantly enhance the effectiveness and impact of CSOs. These alliances can provide CSOs with valuable insights, access to decision-making processes, and opportunities to collaborate on mutually beneficial initiatives. By fostering strong relationships with public servants, CSOs can amplify their voices, influence policy decisions, and drive positive change in society.
One of the speakers and senior advocate of Nigeria, Fumi Falana, says democracy also entails the right of the people to determine how they are to be governed as provided by the law.
Now, before then, SERAP, this organization, had dragged the federal government to ECOWAS court over the validity of Section 42 of the 24 of the cyber crime. So what we discover is that we cannot go to Nigerian courts because they are intimidated. So we go to ECOWAS court and we get this judgment. Armed with this judgment, we come back to celebrate it. But unfortunately, they don't obey. But the fact still remains that we have organizations like Sarah that still go out there to campaign and to engage in a public interest litigation. And so this will be on record that people are still talking and people are still speaking. And I know that one day we will get there.
On his part, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who was represented by Simon Shingu, says the promotion and protection of civic space are regarded as a special prerequisite for increasing growth, good governance, rule of law, and sustainable development. Comfort Samuel, TV 360 News, Lagos.
And on health, the National Malaria Elimination Program has disclosed that the intensified intervention programs aimed at halting malaria incidences in the country are yielding positive results. National coordinator of the program, Godwin Tandem, who spoke at a media chat organized by NMEP in Abuja, announced that the federal government would commence the rollout of malaria vaccine in Kebbi and Bayelsa states this year, after which the initiative would be deployed in other parts of the country. While acknowledging that the malaria scourge in the country has witnessed a sharp decline compared to previous years, Tandem says the federal government is targeting to achieve a 10% reduction in malaria prevalence in Nigeria by 2025.
Malaria is a public health issue. Everyone is vulnerable to malaria, especially our children under 5 and our pregnant women. And that's why we have decided to call this meeting so that we can educate the media, to give them more knowledge, to put words in their mouth of what they should go and tell our populace on the malaria prevention, diagnosis, and treatment. That's one of the reasons. And to increase the knowledge of the media personnel so that at any point in time, they'll be able to answer questions on malaria issue anywhere they are.
You cannot exempt the cost. Most of these commodities are imported, and what affects the currency will equally affect anti-malaria medicines. But I must tell you, several manufacturers are in country, and we have alternatives that are equally very good. We have some notable pharmaceutical companies that are working in country. They source their raw materials locally, and they make these medicines available at cheaper cost to the people. So you cannot remove malaria cost, but whenever you go to government facilities, especially in some of the states that are supported, you still get your anti-malaria medicine free.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, son of Guinea-Bissau's former president jailed in the United States for trafficking drugs to fund a coup. Stay with us for details of this and other stories.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday led governors, federal lawmakers, military top brass and dignitaries to lay to rest the 17 military personnel who were gruesomely murdered in Delta State early this month. The president again condemned the killing of the soldiers, vowing that the culprits will not escape justice. He also conferred posthumous national honors on the slain soldiers and awarded scholarships to their children. We also informed you that despite the opposition of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC, Julius Abure has been re-elected as the national chairman of the Labour Party for a second term by a unanimous affirmation of delegates. The chairman of the National Convention and Deputy Governor of Abia State, Ikechukwu Emetu, declared him the winner during the party's national convention that was held on Wednesday in Nnewi, Anambra State. Now, just in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. Well, let's now join Okwayemi Obosheni for more stories in business. What's the latest, Okwayemi?
Well, Simi, the Innovation and Technology Management Office of the University of Lagos has reiterated its mission to providing robust learning resources, integrated support system for a sustainable innovation ecosystem in Nigeria. Project Director, Innovation and Technology Management Office, Abiodun Ilori, who disclosed this on Tuesday at this year's Unilag Innovation to Market project, says the initiative is meant to bridge the gap between innovation and commercialization. Ilori says the main objective is to provide innovators with necessary resources, mentorship and support to transform their ideas into market-ready products and services.
The goal is to be able to improve the innovation ecosystem in the nation. So this project is not limited to the University of Lagos. We are supposed to fund anybody that is that has a proof of concept or has created any innovation from every part of the country. The importance of this is that it will impact and transform our economic situation in the country. Many of these youths graduate or they are out there. They've not gone to school, but they do not have jobs that they are doing. Even most graduates, when they graduate, they stay 2-3 years at home, no job. But that is not the case now. If you look at the students that we are graduating now, most of them have developed skills from undergraduate days, and they have different products that they have innovated. And they need to be supported to be able to start these businesses, because research shows that the first 5 years of starting a business is very critical. So if you do not know how to do it and ensure that your business stays afloat in these first few years, it is going to be disastrous for the business. And that is why projects like ours is very useful to be able to support them. They stabilize, we give them what they need to do, help them develop their business model, put them into an incubator program, put them into the accelerator program, help them get VCs that are able to finance and support them.
We'll go on a short break and be back with stock market reports. Nigeria's equities market on Wednesday defied recent rate hike to record its first gain this week, increasing by 0.32%, with the market capitalization at 58.97 trillion naira. The market breadth also ended on a good note as 29 stocks advanced and 20 stocks declined. Computer Warehouse Group led the gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 7 naira 15 kobo per share, followed closely by Julie, which closed at 9 naira 49 kobo per share. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NGX, a total of 499 million volume of shares were exchanged in 10,260 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 12 billion. Now, compared with the previous NGX trading day, that's Tuesday, March 26th, today's data shows 33% improvement in volume, 10% improvement in turnover, and 18% improvement in deals. Now, they switch to a select global stock to see how they are also doing on the third weekday of trading. It's a similar case as well for them, as you can see on the screen behind me, as the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei maintained a northward movement and ended in the bulls at 0.48% and 0.90%. Well, reverse is the case, however, for the UK FTSE, as it maintained a southward movement and ended in the bears at 0.045%. Well, that's it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Simisola, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Okwemi. And on the foreign scene, the son of Guinea-Bissau's former president has been sentenced to over 6 years in prison by a United States court for leading an international heroin trafficking ring. Bakai Sana planned to use the proceeds to fund his ambitions to become Guinea-Bissau's president through a coup, authorities have disclosed. The 52-year-old was extradited to the U.S. in August 2022 following his arrest in Tanzania a few weeks earlier. His trial began soon afterwards, and in September 2023, he pleaded guilty to conspiring to illegally import drugs. Finally, on sports, Team Nigeria's athletes that won 47 gold, 33 silver and 41 bronze medals to help the country finish second on the medals table at the just concluded 13th African Games in Ghana will not be rewarded by President Bola Tinubu. John Eno, Sports Development Minister, revealed this while briefing newsmen on Tuesday in Abuja on Team Nigeria's achievement at the 13th Africa Games. He added that the president has done what is required by welcoming the athletes back to the country and has begun payment allowances and bonuses for winning medals to all the deserving ones. That's all on News Now. Thank you for watching. See you next time.